watching Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
Only on Shade 45. Y'all better tune in or these guys is coming at you.
Turn it up.
That's right. We got special guest Alex Gale, senior editor at Billboard Magazine, one of the most reputable, respectful music mags in the business. First established in 1894, was it?
Say word.
Something around then.
Yeah.
18? What?
What year was Billboard established?
18.
I think it was like 1897 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it started out as actually for billboards, like
Yeah.
a trade publication that would follow billboards, and then it moved on to amusement parks, and then it got into music.
And then it got into music.
So, yeah.
Very important magazine it is, or platform now. It's not just a magazine. So a lot of what's important is just charting on those Billboard lists. How are the Billboard lists determined? Is it strictly through airplay, or how do you guys determine like the...
It's a mix, and we're always updating it. So, it's album sales, single sales, radio play, and streaming. So we do a mix of those.
Streaming. So how has that affected the formula?
It's affected a lot. I mean, you look this year, Fetty Wap had a #1 album.
Yeah.
He actually sold less than Don Henley. But, if you look at what's actually more popular, what's being listened to more, it was obviously Fetty Wap. I don't hear Don Henley in the streets. No offense to Don Henley.
Right.
I just don't hear him very often coming from cars.
And so that makes a #1 album. So it's not strictly based on sales.
It's not strictly based on sales anymore because people don't just only buy albums anymore. People go to Spotify and listen to the new Drake album, listen to whatever album, and that's also a measure of what's popular.
J. Cole seems to be a silent sleeper. People don't realize how many albums he's sold and how much airplay he's gotten over the years. Where does he rank in all of this? Because I don't hear his name.
Good question.
He's actually huge. I mean, his album, Forest Hills Drive, was one of the biggest selling albums of 2014.
Nice.
And still sold well into 2015. And he's also done extremely well as a touring act. I mean, he stepped up to arena level. So people don't realize he's actually like a really A-list top level star just in terms of numbers.
Yeah, in terms of numbers, yeah.
He doesn't really have, I think it's because he's not as much of a singles artist. So he's not as much on the radio as other people. But, in terms of just the people coming out and supporting him, he is like one of the biggest.
Is Drake the king right now?
Absolutely.
Hands down.
No question.
No one's near Drake.
No one's near Drake. I mean, he has the biggest selling album of any genre for 2015. And then he, just with, if you're reading this, it's too late. Then he had another one with Future. So to have two #1 albums the same year.
Wow.
And for them to sell that well. And he does it with no promotion.
Yeah.
And later today, we announced the Hot 100, the updated Hot 100. He might have his first #1 on there with Hotline Bling, which isn't even like an official single.
Yeah, he just snuck that out there.
Right.
Here, take that,
Just throw it out. Go ahead.
So bigger than Taylor Swift.
I don't think anyone's bigger than Taylor Swift right now. I think she's the exception, because she, if you look at her tour, for example, I mean, just the money made off that,
Right.
she's going around the world. But I will say that he's kind of nipping at her heels a little bit, but she's just like
Jesus.
cross-platform. Yeah, she, she's on honestly, this is going to be controversial to say, but just like in terms of success and popularity, she's on like Michael Jackson mid-'80s level.
Oh,
I'm not saying that in terms of I'm not saying that in terms of like I think
right.
it's as good as Thriller,
Right.
but
Swag.
but in terms of just like dominance, that's where
Dominance
she's at
and
right
performance, like the results. If you look at the results of her sales, her streams, her touring, her awards, her fans.
Don't look at me. I can't name one Taylor Swift song. I don't know her music. No.
That's actually amazing.
Shake it.
Shake it.
Shake it off.
Shake it
Right,
off.
the joint with Kendrick.
But don't get it confused with
Mariah Carey.
Yeah, shake it off.
I know that one. Yeah.
Right. Well, Alex, you know what I'm wondering? Since Drake and Future's mixtape got so much attention, whenever there's like two people working on a project, I wonder who's benefiting most from it. Like, do you think that Future is not going to be taken more seriously in mainstream? Do you feel like Future helps Drake with his street cred?
I mean, I think they help each other, but to me, for Future, it's a much bigger, like 2015 overall was him just stepping up to a higher level with his own album, but then to have another album with Drake, there's a lot of people who didn't know who Future was, but knew who Drake was.
Yeah.
And, so I think he benefits a little more, but of course Drake does too, because Future is like, he's like the guy in terms of zeitgeist and in terms of, what's happening and what's new. So,
yeah, he's the needle.
Yeah.
Who's an underground artist that's done really well that what will be considered underground that's released music? Like, when let's say if Hobson releases a new album or
Hobson, I mean anything on strange music is going to do pretty well because
Okay.
he had that like independent fan base, you know.
Okay.
So and Joey Badass, I mean, we all know who he is, but in terms of someone who could be considered underground, his album sold, surprisingly well.
Yeah.
I remember late last year, I guess it was, Logic almost, if he can be counted underground, he's on Def Jam, but he almost outsold T.I.
Yeah,
He was
remember
really
that?
close
Like
to it.
10,000 album sales difference or something
Crazy.
like that?
Yeah. So I think nowadays there's a lot of artists who tour hard, and that can just be huge for you.
Lecrae, what about Lecrae?
Oh, Lecrae, I mean, he's huge.
Yeah.
He's another artist that like people sleep on, but he's like the biggest. The Christian music industry is huge, and he's probably the biggest artist in it, which is amazing for a rapper to be the biggest artist in Christian music.
That's
music.
dope.
Yeah.
One last question. Whose kind of trajectory has gone downhill
Ooh, tell the truth.
by
man.
Billboard standards?
I have someone in mind.
There's so many people.
Who do you think?
Let me think. Man.
Where's Wayne at right
Yeah,
now?
and Rihanna.
Wayne, it's kind of obvious to say, it's hard to say that he hasn't gone down just because he's not putting out music.
Okay.
I mean, and it's a shame because he's actually done some good. I think his verses have gotten better.
His
Just like,
verses
as
have
a
gotten
fan.
better. Yo, Alex,
You know?
you nailed it. Yo, he's spinning some shit right
really
now.
is.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, okay, but then he's just caught in this legal limbo situation on like 5 different sides. So,
Okay.
Rihanna, it's hard to say because like, her once her album comes out, I might take it all back.
Yeah.
Right,
but
right.
but obviously right now, like it seems like things are a little kind of going back and forth, and I'm not sure they know which way to go. Like from what we hear, she's just finishing up her album right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she's very much controlling her own career and like throwing out singles and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But once again, once she puts that album out, it could just be a blockbuster, and everyone will take it all back.
We saw that happen with Usher before he put out Yeah. He had put out a couple of things. It was one album that came out that just kind of disappeared all of a sudden before. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Remember this? Then they had to reboot. And then they found that, yeah.
Hey,
Well,
sometimes
Little
you gotta
John.
make whack shit to get the hot shit to come
Yeah.
through.
Maybe that's what it is. Alex Gale's joining us, senior editor of Billboard Magazine. Up next, we got more Celebrity Wire.
Yes, and we must speak about Meek Mill and Drake.
All right, 19 minutes into the hour. We got Alex Gales joining us, senior
What's up?
editor of
Yep.
Billboard Magazine. Today, you guys are releasing a new list.
Yeah, we got the updated Hot 100, and everyone's going to be watching it because of Drake Hotline Bling. Drake is going to be watching it. So he's actually, despite all the amazing things he's done in his career, he's never had a number 1 on the Hot 100.
Damn, that's
wow.
crazy.
So, and it's crazy that it could be Hotline Bling. It kind of speaks to just how, just on fire he is right now, that he can put out a song that's not on an album, put it out on SoundCloud, and it can get this huge.
He's music food. People got to eat it up.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Weekend was number 1, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, The Weeknd, that's another just huge story this year to see him. If you, especially if you've been following him over his career to come from these mixtapes, which are like dark and weird and strange and innovative and groundbreaking, and to see him become like a huge pop star like this has been amazing.
It's been amazing, right?
Yeah.
There's something in the water up there in Canada, bro.
Yeah.
Something's in the water. What else you got,
Absolutely.
Tracy?
Well, speaking of Drake, we all remember that crazy day in July where Meek Mill, he went to Twitter. He said, yo, do not compare me to Drake because he does not write his own raps. Then that ended up with 2 diss songs from Drake charged up back to back. Then we saw something that was a little opposite memorable from Meek Mill. He fired back with Wanna Know. And now, in October, reports are surfacing that Meek Mill may be recording a diss track for Mr. Aubrey Graham in collaboration with a fellow named Sauce Walker. People are also giving rise to speculation that he's planning a response because of something that he posted on his Instagram. Now, we all know, we spoke about it with Alex, Drake, and Future's joint mixtape album, What a Time to Be Alive. And Drake, he does end up slamming Meek Mill a couple times throughout that project. So Meek Mill posted a photo where he's got 2 nice sparkling diamond rings on adjacent fingers, and he wrote, what a time, ... So people felt like he was referencing it to the mixtape and that something's coming. And then also, to add to that, Drake had posted a photo of a diamond ring last week that was gifted to him by Future. And that was in celebration of the release of their album. So a lot of people are just having their ears to their browser to see if something's going to drop any day.
Do they? I mean, are people anticipating this one? Like,
Probably to laugh.
well, it's hard. Alex, what do you think, man?
Man, I just, I'm a fan of Meek, and I'm a fan of Drake, and I don't want Meek. If Meek is gonna do something now, just do it properly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if you had this much time, and he has so many amazing people to just bounce ideas off of, Jay-Z, Nicki. There's no reason, like, let's make it the battle that this really should be.
But the battle's over, though.
Yeah, the
It is.
expiration date.
I
This
agree.
is going like way over the expiration date.
agree,
I think if anything, just make a really hot record.
That would be the
That's
ultimate
it.
comeback. I mean, it was a great year for him too, except for
Yeah.
this. I mean, to me, touring with Nicki, people dissed him for that. That was a win. Just in
Right.
terms of his
Yeah.
money and in terms of being able to tour bigger by himself, and he had a number one album.
Yeah, the dissers don't understand, man. What you want them to leave the money on the table? Get
Yeah.
out of here, man.
Right.
He went on tour,
Yeah.
regardless of who it is.
Yeah.
Very
Why would
true.
you be mad at him going on tour with Nicki?
Yeah.
Well, speaking about money on the table, earlier this morning, when you were speaking about being at the Revolt Music Conference, Sway, and how L.A. Reid was honored, and I was like, oh, did anyone ask L.A. Reid about all the criticism that Epic received because they did not bail out Bobby Schmurda? Well, I did, in fact, find an interview featuring LA, and he was speaking about enduring this criticism and also explained why they have not paid for Bobby Schmurda's freedom. Listen to this.
It made me feel like, people don't know anything about my business, right? And that's really not their business.
Right.
That's the truth about it, right? We're not elected officials here, and we're not at liberty to disclose how we do business. It's fair practice, I can tell you that, right? But it's not the industry that it once was.
Right.
We seriously don't make the money we used to make. That's a fact of life, right?
Yeah, so that was LA Reid doing Rap Radar's podcast with our boy B-Dot and Elliot Wilson.
That's just another misunderstanding of the business.
What do you mean?
People thinking with emotion in their heart when a corporation like Epic is not thinking like that. They think dollars and cents. They think quarterly. So I don't know if Bobby Schmurda had created the equity in that company yet for them to be willing to put down $2 million for his bail. That's just business, is basically what L.A. Reid is saying.
That's true, because he also referenced, he was like, Bobby's not the same as like Snoop, you know what I mean? Or like, anyone else from an older era who was bigger, and also at that time there was more money.
Yeah, let's ask that question to the citizens. I mean, do you feel
Wow.
like, if you got a better understanding of how business works, do you think that Epic still should have put up that bail of $2 million for Bobby Schmurda, or did they make the right business decision? 888-742-3345. 27 minutes into the hour. L.A. Reid.
Yeah, Epic Records CEO, and that was him just responding to criticism that the label should have bailed out Bobby Schmurda, who is still in jail.
Alex Gale, let me ask you just from a business perspective, because it's checks and balances. If I feel like I make this investment in an artist, it's going to pay off somehow if I get an album out of them. And if it adds up, then maybe you make that investment. Based on what you've seen on Billboard charts of Bobby Schmurda's career, do you think it could have warranted that kind of that bail? You think he could have made the money back based on the popularity he had? And
I mean, he had one song. It's kind of the way that I look at it right now.
Yeah.
Not obviously not hearing what else he's done. Like L.A. Reid probably heard Bobby Schmurda songs I haven't heard.
Yeah.
But he had one huge song. But a lot of people have one huge song. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to continue on from there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more. Just you need more than one song to really make your label back. Whatever kind of money they paid him, I think just for his album advance was
Right.
like $3 million or something like
Right.
that.
So so Bobby Bitch never charted?
I don't think so. But
Bobby
yeah.
Bitch. Bobby Bitch. Damn.
all right, what else you got, Tracy?
Well, we got to speak about Lamar Odom.
Well, first, I got some callers. I forgot to ask them to find out what the callers wanted to speak to L.A. Reid and Epic. Did they make the right decision, or should they have bailed Bobby Schmurda out? We got Mike from Maryland on the line. Mike, what up, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
Mikey.
What's good, Sway? How y'all doing?
What's up, man? What do you think?
To be honest, I really don't think that they should have bailed him out. I mean, for real, he should have had them 16, 17 niggas he had with him in the videos with the guns and shit, were they? I know a lot of them got locked up.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's really, from a business perspective, it doesn't make any sense to bail this young man out. I hate to see a young black man in jail, but to be to back up what I'm saying, it's just they could bring him up on more charges, yo. So once he gets bailed out, because he got like a criminal case like that.
He could get bailed out, go in the studio, make a bunch of music,
Right.
make a couple albums, you know, and if he get another hot record, they could potentially make their money back.
But this is Bobby Schmurda we talk about. We ain't talk about like Fetty Wap. Like, you know, Fetty Wap is worth $2 million. You know, I'm not a big fan of his music, but I know he charts and he goes around. Like, I don't think Bobby had a chance to get to that level, and I feel like he bought that upon himself.
Thank you, Mike. Good point.
Yeah.
Rule number one.
It's a dirty game. Prime in Buffalo. What do you think, man?
I think as a label, you definitely could have made the money back on Bobby. Bobby will understand that you're getting bailed out on the condition that you come home, you got to hold hard. You got to hold harder than ever. You got to be in the lab. You got to be touring. Yeah, he was popular at the time. And if you take him out on bail with a case this serious, the credibility that you put behind a dude that's obviously a gangster, you obviously put a gangster in the studio. When I first heard this dude, I knew he was telling the truth, and I knew he was about it. And Epic did too. Yeah. So it's like they kind of turned their back on this dude.
That's an interesting point.
Epic didn't want that image, because when you bail Bobby out and you say, okay, y'all see what he did? He's back in the studio. Epic is now a gang.
That's so true.
Wow.
And beyond the image, too, that's just looking out for his life.
But you know what, too, though, Sway, Tracy, and Alex as well, a lot of things the label don't tell you. They don't tell you need to save money for your Social Security and your pension and your health. It's so many things that they don't tell you. Sway brings it up all the time. Taxes, business management, attorneys. It's so much more to it than just bail somebody out of jail. You got to save money for the next 5 years. Right. These shows and shit is not guaranteed. So it's a lot deeper than that. He better hope he don't get sick.
Because he don't have health
insurance.
Damn.
Rule number one.
It's a dirty game. Well, I wish him the best.
Yeah.
Say that.
Same here.
You one last story?
Yeah, real quick, Lamar Odom. Good news. He is going to survive this near-death experience. His heart is pumping. He can breathe on his own with the help of a mask. But doctors are saying it's going to be a long, hard road to recovery. They're saying that he's going to need a physical therapist, a speech therapist, and a whole bunch of other therapists who's going to be working with him. And that Khloe Kardashian has vowed to stay with him throughout this entire ordeal. She's going to be right next to him through all the therapy. And someone else who came into the scene, his cousin, a female cousin, did a really high-charged rant directed at anyone who spoke negatively about Lamar. Listen to this.
Kind of motherfuckers spread rumors about my cousin.
So that was an unnamed cousin, clearly emotional. But
thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, had to get her feelings out.
I'm about to be out. This shit is wild, business. This is wild.
Yeah.
Alex Gale, senior editor at Billboard.
Poor Alex.
You got.
I'm motherfucking tired.
He's all good. Yeah, I'm over here crying.
You guys, reach out to Alex Gale. Reach out to him directly. If you want to know about the inner workings of the music business, Billboard has been a fixture in it for over a century.
Yeah.
And this guy has earned his way to this position.
Yeah.
Hit him directly. You don't have access to these people. How can they reach you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, just at alexgale.com. Alex, ALEXGALE.
Try it, citizens.
Hit me up.
And tell them you heard him on Sway in the Morning. And ask them anything. Who has the most played songs? Who's the most successful on radio and streaming? Who's the most downloaded artist that's out there? Who's really on top of the game? Ask him directly, and he'll tell you as far as he knows. Right, Alex?
Yes, I will.
All right.
As long as I have time.
All right. There go the open. There it is. That's the sidestep right there, boy. Yeah, man. Rule number one.
It's a dirty game.
Thank you, man. Woo. All right.
It's Sway in the Morning, only on Shade 45.